How to make compost at home, and here's a quick update on kitchen waste composting. If your compost smells bad, attracts pests, or, turns into a slimy mess, you're not composting. You're actually just rotting waste. That's the mistake. And honestly, it's costing you real results in your garden. Poor compost doesn't just fail to help your soil. It can actually introduce pathogens, lock up nutrients, and slow plant growth. I've tested this across backyard systems, raised beds, and even when integrating compost into hydroponic transitions, and, well, the difference between proper compost and poorly managed kitchen waste is massive. One builds soil, the other creates problems you end up chasing for weeks. Before we get into how to fix this, there's one simple habit that honestly changes everything: how you collect your kitchen waste. I use a sealed countertop compost bin that keeps scraps contained and odor-free, which really prevents the most common mistake: letting food waste sit exposed, dry out, or rot unevenly before it even reaches the compost pile. The one I use has charcoal filters that completely eliminate smell, so I can collect consistently without attracting pests. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. That consistency at the start is what makes the rest of the process actually work. Now let's get into what most people are doing wrong. Most kitchen compost fails because honestly the balance is completely off. The biggest issue with home composting is, well, imbalance. Too many kitchen scraps and not enough dry material. Kitchen waste is high in nitrogen and moisture. When you pile it up without enough carbon to balance it, it compacts, limits airflow, and starts decomposing anaerobically. That's when you get the smell, the slime, and, the pests. And more importantly, that kind of breakdown doesn't produce quality compost. It produces unstable material that can actually harm your soil instead of improving it. The fix isn't complicated, but it does require a bit of precision. You need to control the ratio, not just the ingredients. What actually works is maintaining a consistent balance between greens and browns. In practical terms, for every 1 part of kitchen waste, you need about 2 to 3 parts of dry material. That can be dry leaves, shredded paper, cardboard, or dry grass. And when I say parts, I really mean volume. So if you add a bowl of food scraps, you follow it with 2 to 3 bowls of dry material. This keeps the compost aerated, reduces odor, and allows beneficial microbes to break everything down efficiently. In one of my backyard setups, I tested a pile with mostly kitchen waste and another with a proper ratio. Within a week, the difference was obvious. The balanced pile heated up, broke down evenly, and had an earthy smell. The unbalanced one turned wet and foul. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between usable compost and wasted effort. How you layer your compost determines how fast it breaks down. A lot of people mix everything randomly and hope for the best. That works eventually, but it's slow and inconsistent. What works better is intentional layering. Start with a base layer of coarse, dry material. This improves airflow from the bottom. Then add a layer of kitchen scraps, followed by another layer of dry material. Each time you add scraps, you cover them immediately. This prevents flies, controls moisture, and keeps the system balanced. In raised bed composting or trench composting, this same principle applies. You bury kitchen waste and cover it with soil or dry material to create a controlled breakdown environment. This method consistently produces faster, cleaner compost. Moisture is where most compost piles quietly fail. Compost should feel like a wrung-out sponge. Not dry, not dripping. Too dry, and decomposition slows down. Too wet, and you lose oxygen, which leads to anaerobic conditions. If your pile is too wet, add more dry material and turn it to introduce air. If it's too dry, add a small amount of water, but don't overcorrect. In container composting systems, this balance becomes even more critical because airflow is limited. That's why, honestly, consistent layering and proper ratios matter even more. Turning your compost isn't optional if you want real results. There's a lot of advice saying you can just leave compost alone and let it break down. That works, but it's slow. If you want faster results, you need to turn the pile. This introduces oxygen, redistributes moisture, and speeds up microbial activity. In my systems, turning once every 5 to 7 days produces consistent, high-quality compost in a fraction of the time compared to static piles. And here's something people don't realize. Turning also helps prevent pockets of undecomposed material, which can cause problems later when you apply the compost. This is what a healthy compost process actually looks like. Within a few days of building a balanced pile, you should notice heat. That's microbial activity at work. Within a couple of weeks, the materials should start breaking down into smaller, darker pieces. The smell should be earthy, not sour. By the time it's ready, the compost should be dark, crumbly, and uniform. You really shouldn't be able to recognize the original materials. If you still see large chunks or smell anything unpleasant, it's simply not ready yet. Ready. Using unfinished compost is another mistake that slows plant growth. It continues decomposing in the soil, pulling nutrients away from your plants. This is where most gardeners start seeing the real benefit. Once you start producing consistent, high-quality compost, your soil changes. It becomes easier to work, holds moisture better, and supports stronger plant growth. You'll notice better root development and more consistent yields. In raised beds, adding compost regularly improves structure and reduces the need for additional inputs. In containers, it helps maintain nutrient balance and microbial life. Even in hydroponic transitions, introducing well-made compost into soil systems helps plants adapt more quickly. This is where compost stops being a side task and becomes a core part of how your garden functions. If you're serious about getting better results, this is the level you need to operate on. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, because this is the kind of detail that actually makes a difference. The mistake of composting everything without thinking, well, not all kitchen waste should go into your compost the same way. Large pieces take longer to break down. Oily or heavily cooked foods can disrupt the balance. Adding too much of any one material can throw off the system. Chopping scraps into smaller pieces speeds up decomposition. Keeping a mix of materials ensures balance. It's not about dumping everything in, it's about managing the process. Why consistency matters more than volume. A lot of people think composting is about building a big pile quickly. What actually works better is consistent, smaller additions. When you add material regularly and maintain the right balance, the system stays active. Microbes remain engaged and decomposition continues smoothly. This is where that kitchen collection habit becomes important again. Having a steady supply of properly managed scraps allows you to feed the compost system consistently instead of in large, irregular bursts. The real takeaway isn't just making compost, it's building a system that works every time. Composting isn't complicated, but it is precise. When you control the ratio, manage moisture, and maintain airflow, you create a system that produces reliable results. And once you have that system, everything else in your garden improves. Soil structure, nutrient availability, plant health, it all connects back to this. At the end of the day, serious gardening is about understanding processes, not just following steps. When you understand how compost works, you stop guessing and start producing consistent, high-quality results. If this helped you improve your composting approach, subscribe and share it with someone who's still struggling with smelly piles and poor results.